Hello. So, this is now about a few days after that first incident when we ran into that thing. So, my heart is still shaky. My brain cannot unsee that creature. Because he ain't human. A 9 foot tall man? Fuck that. That ain't normal at all, hell. But, about 3 days later, but Kyle and Letcher picked me up maybe around 2 p.m. The amount of guns these two had, and they also brought a friend, which scared me a little bit more. They brought someone that knew the area better than us, which was an older man known as, I think his name was Jonathan Hicken. He was a 65-year-old man. He's been hunting in these woods longer than any of us understood. And he told us that he would help us in this situation because he doesn't want to see us get hurt. So they asked me to give him the description of what was happening because they didn't see anything. So I told John the whole description of this tall figure. And when I described when I saw him last, what happened, what he looked like, John's face went from calm, normal to pale. And he looked at me like, "Oh, you saw the tall man. The statue man is another name they go by in the city. The statue man is this old folklore that some hunters have gone around saying this giant 9 foot to maybe 8 foot tall man. It differs by the story I've heard. Looks like just some creepy trench coat looking person that doesn't move. It just has this gray, almost rocky skin and has a very soulless eyes. I've never seen it, but I've heard the story from my grandfather. But the thing that made it worse was the fact that my grandfather never told me what it looked like. He just told me the stories of it. How it would hunt down people at random. It would stalk its prey. And it would pick people for reasons that it finds enjoyment with its prey. So, I wonder, why did it choose you three? You don't look like anything more than a bunch of young punks. No offense when I call you all that. I'll shake my head and be like, it's fine. We get back to the cabin site, and when we get back there, it looks like nothing happened. But it looks like just the same thing when we got there. But what made it worse was when we opened the door, Kyle literally, I've never seen Kyle get sick to his stomach, because this man is the same man that would look at sorry, not trying to throw up, my bad. He looks at gory shit. He saw a deer corpse one time and not have an issue. But when we opened that cabin door, the amount of viscera and guts we saw that were mixture of animal and we don't know what else was in the cabin, spray. It looked like it was thrown all over the walls. And this was where it got to the point where I looked at the blood, making kind of, because we haven't been here for a few days, probably 3 at most whenever we came back. The first analysis that I did to kind of know if this was fresh or not, because I didn't know if this was already done after we left and the creature got mad that we left. So, I checked the blood, and I had gloves on, but I checked it. My hands, when it touched, the blood wasn't dry. It was still wet, so it means it was maybe a few hours. But the fact that what made it where I knew it wasn't a few hours, like maybe more than like, not more than like maybe 5, was the fact that the organs were still shiny. Like very shiny, like they were just ripped from a corpse. So we stayed here for about maybe an hour and set up camp. Not that far, not in the cabin, but not that far from the cabin. I remember Kyle told me, he tossed me the keys saying, hold on to these. If anything happens, I know you can drive, but if anything happens, leave, please. And he's never told me to be a scaredy cat or run. The fact that that man I've known for so long hands me the keys and tells me if something happens to leave, I looked at him and nod. So, about after we set up camp, we ate a little bit to make sure we were good. John looked at me and Letcher and looked at Kyle then and said, boy, Kyle, right? Come with me. We're gonna go set up some traps. Letcher, you come with us too. You stay here. Stay near the campsite. Letcher and Kyle both got up. I did not want to be left alone. I grabbed one of the guns they had and holded it close to me. It wasn't more than maybe 5 minutes as I started to hear, they're not coming back. They're going to die. Throughout the woods, my nerves were shaky. I wanted to cry. I wanted to scream. And then I felt pitter patter tapping on some form of metal. Then I remember that sounded like the truck. I looked in the direction of the truck. My eyes were widened as I see the statue man just standing by the truck and his long fingers tapping the car as he looked in my direction with a smile. As I just shook my head no, as he would stop his hand and looks like he would start to walk in a opposite direction of me. As I got up and started running to where when I remembered Kyle and Fletcher were with Mr. John. As I ran high speed. I didn't care what was in my way. As not that long, I ran right into Letcher, and Letcher looked at me in tears, scared. We need to go. We need to leave now. As he said, I looked at him like, what's going on? I looked at him. The statue got John. John tried to shoot him and it didn't do anything. It didn't do anything to that thing. The bullets just went inside and didn't even faze him. He grabbed John. Get to the car. You'll explain there. Where's Kyle? I don't know. I just started running after he killed John. You left Kyle. Kyle's strong. He'll be by himself. He won't. And then I started hearing the car alarm for the truck. As when we ran to the truck, what was on the truck scared me and made me so sick. As what was on the top, the roof and on the glass of the truck was Kyle's body, as it was mutilated. The eye sockets were gone. the his arms were just broken. His stomach was ripped out, and his head was turned in our direction, like he knew we were coming from this way. As we immediately, and I mean faster than anything, got into that truck. As I got in the car and started it, as once I started and the lights turned on, the statue man was standing right in front of the truck and places both his hands on the hood, and I could faintly see his mouth move, saying, 1, 2, you are going away. 1 piggy down, 2 more to go. As I put the truck in reverse and started just driving, as he pushed his hand, not caring that I was almost slammed right into him. I didn't care. Tried to drive around, but he moved his hand and grabbed Letcher's face, ripping his head off through the truck. Like, his hand broke through the glass and the metal, ripping Letcher's head off. I was screaming. I was in tears. I just drove. I did not care. I got out of there. I called the police. I explained everything that happened. I couldn't understand. After I got about maybe 5-6 miles from the campsite and more to like a gas station, I called the cops. I was in hysterics. I explained to them and I told them, I'll take you back there. Just please help. I'm not insane. I didn't do any of this. It's not even, none of this stuff is on me. This creature caused all this. They asked me, do you have any proof of what this creature is? They call it the statue. I filled out a full police report. I filled out everything that was needed. And I even went back with 2, 3, or I don't remember how many officers back to the campsite. And what they saw was just blood, the viscera of the root of the cabin, and everything that my story was lining up. And when we looked, I went with them to do a little routine around the area, and they didn't find Kyle's body, but we did find John's body. John, they found, well, what was left of it. They found 2 of his arms in the forest, and that was it. And the officers told me that I need to go. I will be spending the night in the jail just for questioning for a little while. But other than that, my DNA, everything didn't come back with me. They just needed. I said I'm fine with this as long as I will be protected, because I don't know if that thing's coming for me. It's now about 3 hours after being in the prison, quote, in the police hold for now. I've been talked to about multiple different officers. Some of them don't believe me. Some of them think I'm just a little hysterical, thinking I saw maybe something else. They took pictures of the truck and showed it to me. It's like, do you know it takes a lot of force to do a hole in the glass like that and then rip through the plastic like metal? I know I'm not joking with any of you when I say I didn't do any of this. I didn't. I really didn't do any of this. 2 of my best friends I've known since high school are dead. And you think I'm the one that did it? You're kidding me. I'm not joking when I say this creature did it. Whenever the test results came back, I sat down with them and I talked to them. When they found my friend's body, they told me that the test results came back as some granite and like cobblestone was left in his skin. And I'm like, I don't know. And when they did the DNAs on Jonathan Huggins' arms, they could tell had the same thing. And I was nowhere near John. I didn't know where he even went. He went to go set up some traps, and that was from then. I remember after they told me that I could leave, I went back home. I asked him, I don't have a car. Could one of you guys drive me home? I remember when the officer drove me home, we drove by that forest area, and I saw the statue staring throughout the forest as I drove through, staring at me. For all of you, and I mean this, if you read this, if you hear this story, the statue isn't fake. That thing is real. And I hope, and I really mean this, if you hear this story, or if you run into something similar, it's not a dream. I hope that I can get the bottom of this, or anything else. But I hope the next person, whoever runs into him, I hope you're fine. Alrighty, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is part 2. Part 1 didn't have an ending for that reason, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. And this has been a very interesting time. And to all of you, like and subscribe. I will catch you all in the next video.